Today we will discuss about delegation. Now, what is delegation? A manager uh, is having a manager is having lot of work to do when he is working in an organization. Lot of responsibilities are there on his shoulder. So though a manager is very much efficient one, we believe that, so then also it's a little bit difficult, or we can say it is actually impossible or impractical to believe that all the work will be done by the manager only, because then he will not get any time to think about any different kinds of he will not be able to concentrate on different kinds of managerial work to do. Like he has to invest a lot of time on routine work and whatever the operational jobs are there. So just he will be very busy with all kinds of operational activities, so he will not get enough time to concentrate on these things, like different kinds of decisions related to the planning that they're following, maybe some changes they want to bring in the plan, or maybe some kind of means new things we want to incorporate in our existing plan. So maybe some decision related problem, or maybe some problem that is some kind of issues has arrived, how to solve those kinds of issues. So these things are there other than some operational activities. So we can say that the volume of work makes it impractical for him to handle it all by himself. So it is becoming very difficult to handle all the kinds of work. So what he has to do, what he will do now, the what the manager will do, manager will delegate some authority to his subordinates, and he will some means give some kind of opportunity to the subordinate to do some work. So delegation means that will be called as delegation. So what he will be doing, like he will give the opportunity to the subordinate to do some work on behalf of him. So that means we are providing some kind of authority to the subordinate. That will be called as delegation. So delegation, that means it is coming from where? It is coming from the superior to the subordinate. So a downward transfer of authority from superior to subordinate. So like if we give some delegate, means if we give some authority to my subordinate, so what will happen? So we can find that the subordinate's need will be satisfied. He will be very much happy. He will because he is getting some recognition in the organization, and it is helping the manager as well, like as because they are means earlier they were very much restricted if they are not providing any authority to the subordinate. So what will happen, like they will be very much busy with different kinds of operational activities. But now when I am delegating my authority to my subordinate, so I will get some more time in hand, and I will think about some more high priority things. So I will be able to concentrate on high priority things. Now, if we are just giving the authority to my subordinate, that does not mean I will not remain accountable for the performance of that particular task. So, for the accomplishment of task, for the performance of the task, I will not remain accountable. That is not the case. I will remain accountable for that work also, though I have given some authority to my subordinate. So there are certain elements of delegation. What are these elements? Elements are like authority is there. What is authority? So there is means with the delegation, few words are coming, few terms are coming like authority. Authority means the kind of right that I have means. That I have with the help of this right, what I can do, I can give some command, I can order someone means to my subordinates, I can give some order to my subordinates. So that will be called as authority. So authority is the right of an individual to command his subordinates, and he can take some action also. So the concept of authority arises from established scalar chain. Scalar chain, it is following some scalar chain, that is it is coming, means if you see at the top level, the authority is highest. So if you move from top level to the bottom level, so it will be lowest at the bottom level, and it will be highest at the top level. So it is dependent upon the position you are holding. So authority is coming along with the position you are holding in the organization. Authority relationships helps to maintain order in the organization by giving the managers the right to exact obedience and give directions to the workforce under them. So, authority is when you have a authority. So, one thing like when you have the authority, so obviously, there will be mm, a kind of discipline that could be maintained by the workforce. Why? Because they will be obedient to you. Why? Because they know that you are holding this position and you have these authorities. So if they know about your what kind of authority you have, what kind of position you are holding, and means along with that, this authority will come. So that means they know that you are having the right, that kind of right to order him or to take some action against him. So if that is known to your workforce, so what they will do, they will follow the instruction, they will follow whatever the direction is being provided by the manager. So ultimately there will be a proper working relationship, and there will be maintenance of obedience. So here, what is there, like the superior is taking some decision. He is giving some order or instruction to the subordinate. The subordinate is just following those instructions. Uh, Yes, as only 24 students have joined the class. So I just want to tell all of you that you just inform all of your friends to join the classroom once at least. Because if you are not joining the classroom, ultimately when the exam will be conducted, I think before also you have faced that situation. It is not new to you that if you have never entered classroom, you will not be able to submit your answer sheet. Because if you want to appear in the examination, so first of all you have to enter into the classroom. If you have never entered, you will not be allowed. Means in the system only you will not be allowed. So is the CR present today? CR is not present. So Devdeep, will you please communicate to your friends in your WhatsApp group also? You can communicate your friends that you need to enter into the classroom, because in classroom it's not showing that all of you have joined the classroom. If you have never entered, I think you know previously also you faced such kind of things. Yes, yes, please do that. Otherwise, it will be a problem for you on that very day of the examination. So. Yes, we were learning about authority. Now we will talk about responsibility. So responsibility is an obligation. It is coming from where? It is coming from the subordinate side. So it's an obligation of the subordinate that he has to perform his duties. Whatever task has been provided to him, he will do all these tasks. That is his responsibility. And it is coming from the kind of relationship, that is the chain of command or the superior subordinate relationship. So from that thing, we are means we will be responsible towards our superior. So the flow is from flow is upward. The upward flow is there, like from superior, from the subordinate it is going towards the superior. Now, when we this authority and responsibility, these two things are very much interrelated. Like when we are giving some responsibility to someone to do some work, so along with that, I have to provide him some authority, some right to do that work. So that I need to provide. Now, if you are not giving authority and just giving the responsibility, then it will become very difficult for the person to do that, accomplish that particular task. So, what I need to do, I have to give some authority along with the responsibility. Now, if you give more authority that is not required to accomplish that task, if you are providing some more authority, more than required you are providing, so what will happen, there will be excess authority will be there, and it will be misutilized by the person who has taken getting the who is getting the authority. So he can misutilize the authority that he has been provided. Then comes accountability. Accountability is there. Just a second. Accountability is there, means if you are providing the authority to the subordinate, then also you will remain accountable to the final outcome. You will remain answerable for whatever the means for the outcome, for the accomplishment of the task. Now, importance of delegation. So there is a tabular form or just an overview of elements of delegation. In brief, it is given. We have discussed it in detail. Effective management. By empowering the employee, the managers are able to function more efficiently, as we are getting more time to concentrate on different important matters. This one we have understood, and we are getting some freedom from routine work, so we are getting some opportunity to do some different kind of work, some important tasks, some high priority things. Employee development, as because the people who are getting that authority, so they can utilize their talent, they can utilize their talent and they can utilize their talent, as because the employee is getting some more opportunity to whatever the talent he is having, and he is getting some more knowledge, is getting better exposure. So ultimately he will be able to develop himself, he will be able to develop himself. So he will be able to develop himself, as because he is getting some more opportunity, and it is good for his career, like he will be ready for the future, some kind of new opportunities he is getting, so he is developing his own skill, he's gaining some more experience, so he's becoming expert in different field. So ultimately we are developing an employee. Motivation, it is providing motivation to the employees, because employees are feeling that their presence is recognized, there is a need of their presence, and when that means the superior is depending on him, he's providing some extra responsibility to him. So that means he is an means he can find himself as an important entity in the organization, and it is improving his confidence in the organization. And as because it is improving his confidence, obviously it is very obvious that it will increase his means it will improve his own performance in the organization. Then comes facilitation of growth. So delegation helps in organization of in the expansion of the organization. Like when we want to enter into a new venture, so what will happen? Like we have some ready workforce. Means with whom we can work on in future. So that means we have some ready workforce in our hand, and whenever some new things will be introduced, so we are ready for that. So some trained and experienced employees are able to play a significant role in the launch of new projects by replicating the work ethos they have absorbed from existing units in the newly set up branches. So that is going to help us. And this is for management hierarchy, as because when we are thinking about any hierarchy, so there will be some relationship, some working relationship, so or maybe some other relationship, like for other types of hierarchy, like family tree and all. So there we find the social relationship, but here we have some kind of working relationship. So what is the basis of the working relationship? The superior subordinate relationship that we are framing over here. So that means it is providing the basis for the management hierarchy. Better coordination we can establish from here, as because delegation is there, so we are providing authority, lot of communication is there. So for accomplishment of the job, we need some we have to have some responsibility, we need some authority, we need to have some kind of means accountability towards my work. So that means for accomplishment of the particular task, lot of things are involved, and for the better outcome, what we have to do, we have to maintain a proper coordination. So means when we are choosing delegation, so that means we will be we have to maintain a proper coordination. So ultimately, with this particular process, we will establish coordination in the organization. Then comes the decentralization and centralization concept. So, like in many companies, we find that there is a central point from where everything is controlled. The decision making process, the decision making authority is in the hand of the top management level. So we can say that it is a centralized organization. Now when the decision making authority is being delegated and distributed to others, so to different levels of the organization, so then we can say it is called as decentralization, decentralized organization. Now, centralization and decentralization, like in case of centralized organization, the decision making process will be lengthy, because a lot of hierarchies are there, and we have to means we have to come across all these hierarchy, different levels of the organization, and ultimately we will reach the means the top level of the top level management, and they will take the decision, and that will be again communicated. So it will be a lengthy time consuming process. But in case of central in decentralized one, what we find that we are giving means different people at different levels are there, and different point of action is there. So the level that is close to that particular point of action, that particular level will take the decision. Means if it has happened at the middle level, no, so for that we don't have to means take decision from, we have to ask for decision from the top level. That is not the situation. So middle level people will take care of it. They will take the decision. Develops initiative among subordinates. So decentralization is there. If decentralization is there in the organization, so ultimately what will happen? So it will promote self-reliance and confidence, because now we have certain authority in our hand. So that means we will remain accountable for that. So we will have some responsibility. So that means ultimately we will be confident enough, because whenever we will take such decision, we have to get involved with all the activities, and we have to remain accountable for that. So ultimately we will be self-confident, and we will have some self-reliance, and we will get in we would like to prefer some means we would like to take some initiative actions in the organization. That means we are feeling much more motivated also. So develops managerial talent for the future, as because they are getting more opportunities to handle any assignment, any new project. So independently they are doing so. So that means they're increasing their experience, they're increasing their skills. So their development of skills and experience and expertise is there. So these things will improve the level of confidence, and ultimately in this way we are creating a kind of people or human resources, and we are utilizing their talent, and we in future we will be able to utilize this particular means ready workforce. Quick decision making, as I was mentioning, that at each whatever the problem has happened, like from the point of the action, the level that is closer to the point of action, that particular level will take the decision for the problem, for the incident. And that means the decision making process will be very, means the time that is needed to take any decision, that will be very short. Facilitates growth. It facilitates growth in the organization, like as because we have very good quality workforce now, and they are means these people are very much efficient now. So decentralization awards greater autonomy to the lower level management, as well as divisional or departmental heads, because earlier means if you talk about centralized, they are not having so much of authority, they were not having so much of authority. So now they have much more authority, so they are getting much more autonomy over here. So this allows them to function in a manner best suited for their department, and foster a sense of competition among the departments. So all the time they will try to develop their own own department, own division. So they will think about that, and ultimately it will create some competitiveness within the organization. And that is good. The performance will enhance in consequently, with each department doing its best in a bid to outdo the other. The productivity level will increase, like as the competition is there, the productivity or the performance level will increase. So that will ultimately means help in growth of the organization. Relief of top management, as because we are delegating our authority. So that means we are getting some more time in taking some important policy decisions, and to invest some time in some different kinds of managerial activities. So they are getting some relief. Then better control, because decentralization make it possible to evaluate performance at each and every level. So at each and every level, as because they are getting the authority, so the performance will be measured at each and every level will be evaluated. So whenever we find something, some problem is arising, so at that particular level we have to control it, we have to take some measures. And as because all of them are involved in something or the other activities or decision making process, so that means we can take feedback from each and every level. So means more control means better control or a close control, we can say, that we can get in decentralization. In a competitive view is there here, the delegation and decentralization. Here we will learn about tall structure and flat structure. Look at the diagram. Okay, look at this one. I think whether I have shown you or not, I can't recall. Just take a look whether I have shown you this one or not. Like formal, informal organization coexisting. So these two things are coexisting. Like formal is there, and within the formal organization, only we can find the informal. Like if you see the structure, there are a lot of levels. Some people are there at different positions are there. So that will be called as a formal organization. And if you see the this formal organization at the right side, means at the right side of the diagram at the top level, and some president, vice president, division manager, department managers are there. And if you see at the bottom of the diagram, informal organization like morning coffee and bowling team and chess group, different types of informal organizations are also there within the formal. Like different people from different level of the formal organization, they have joined and they have formed such kind of informal organization. So from this particular diagram, I think the concept of formal informal will be much more better. Now tall structure and flat structure. So if we look at this diagram, so here we have a tall structure and flat structure. Tall structure, if you see, there are a lot of levels in the diagram. So it will be called as tall structure. If you look at the flat one, see, here the levels are very less. So here, this one will be called as flat structure. And one more important thing, that is that if you talk about the span of control. Span of control means the number of subordinate or the number of employee that you can, as a manager, you can handle, you can efficiently manage, or if you can efficiently control, that will be called as your span of control. How many people, how many employee you will be able to control efficiently, that will be called as your span of control. Now in case of tall organizational structure, the span of control is less short, or in case of whereas in case of flat organizational structure, the span of control is broad. So lot of people, as a manager, I have to control lot of people. A tall organizational structure has more hierarchical level, and it's usually characterized by narrow span of control. So this type of organizational organization facilitates close supervision and provides more continuous interaction between the supervisor and his subordinate. So what is happening? Because less number of people are there under one particular manager, so that means better control could be established. And however, because of the close supervision and control, superior subordinate relations are sometimes strained. The decision making authority lies with the supervisor, and this might put him in a position of power over his subordinates. So he is having the power, he will take the decision, and the subordinates will follow that. So also accountability and responsibility are generally attached to the supervisor's role, and subordinates get little exposure to the work demands and pressure. Decision making becomes more centralized and hence time consuming in case of tall structure. So decision making process is little bit lengthy as because it is centralized, and that's why it has to come across a lot of levels, and that's why it is a time consuming process. And the supervisors will means they will take the decision, means all the subordinates that they will follow the instruction. Now, flat organization, they have a wide span of control. Sometimes the 30, 40 people are there under control of a manager. And when that is the case, then it is fewer levels. If we have span of control that is wide and is less complex and more efficient. So management delegates authority. Now in this case, obviously, if too much people are there under you, so little bit problem to control everyone, so it's better to delegate some authority to them and impose its employee because of the wide span of supervision. Now flat organizations need, so that's why we need some people who can handle such kind of responsibilities that is being provided, or this kind of authority that will be provided by the supervisor. So flat organization need well-trained people, and an organizational need to bring down communication barrier because levels are less. So whenever levels are will be more, the path is long, so obviously some communication barrier can arise, and sometimes the message that you are sending through the communication channel, it can get distorted also. Organizations that operate in fast-paced and demanding environment must reduce the level in their organizational hierarchy and empower the employees at lower level to take some decision. So that is good for the organization, that if you can delegate your authority to your subordinates, that is better. That is actually empowering your subordinates, and that is developing your subordinates, and at the same time it is good for you also. Then comes the line and staff function. This concept also new to us. Line and staff function. Like there are some kind of functions that we are doing in the organization that is directly linked with the business core business activity. So these kinds of performance, these kinds of functions will be some core activities, and that will contribute to the business directly. Like if you talk about any business, that means we will produce something and we will sell it. So production and sales, these two things will be very mandatory. So manufacturing and marketing, we can say that these two things are line functions directly related to the business activity, and it is, we can say, it's a core activity. It is performing some core activities. So these departments will be called as line function. And there are some activities that is some legal support or legal advice, so that we are getting that is some support activities. So or maybe some kind of human resources, so that is giving some support, or that is directly not linked with the, that means they have the indirect contribution towards the business. Now this line and staff function, so it is little bit difficult to define which is line function for everyone. Means if you talk about some BPO, then it is obviously the HR activity is the main activity over there. So that is the main activity. Can we say that HR activity will be regarded as a staff function? So there we cannot say like that. So that is there. Now one more thing, like matrix type of organization. Before that, some decentralization also we have done. Some uh, like we have not done departmentation on the basis of different things. Departmental decentralization could be done. Like on the basis of function, we have seen like different functions we are doing, like finance, production, or purchase, marketing. So on the basis of that, we are creating different departments that we have learned. And sometimes we are creating on the basis of product also. Like in case of division, we are creating some divisions on the basis of product also. We can create some small units, and for a particular product or for particular services, we are providing giving some small product related departments to the organization. Now, departmentation by geography also, like with the means in maybe we have different location, we have departments, and this will actually help us to understand the taste and preference of the local customers, because the means different zones are there in the country or in the world. So different people are there, they have their taste and different culture, different taste and preferences. So that keeps on changing when we move from one place to another. So that we are giving importance, and that's why we are creating departments on the basis of geographic location. Departmentation by process. Sometimes we are means lengthy processes are involved to produce a kind of some kind of goods. Like if you talk about alloy, means manufacture of alloy. So the organizations that manufacture alloy have several processes, such as they have to hot rolling and cold rolling, casting, pressing, all these activities. So on the basis of different small activities or processes, we can create different departments on the basis of process. So ultimately we can that will be a good method, and in this way we can concentrate on each and every processes, and we can means monitor all the activities of different processes. So it is better to do departmentation by customers. Different services we are providing to different kinds of customers. So on the basis of different types of customers, we can generate different departments. So like maybe some customers, some maybe some overseas customers are there, or corporate customers are there. So we can have some separate department for them. Like one more structure, that is matrix structure, that is means nowadays we are using such kind of structure for different companies who are handling a lot of different kinds of project. So these kinds of structure is actually means when we are taking different efficient people, skilled people from different departments, and what we are doing means for a particular project we are accumulating those human resources, and we are completing our work at the right time. So in this way, we are working together to accomplish a project. So there we are following matrix structure. That means people will be there from different department, and they will come together. So obviously, if they are coming, means here we are not following chain, means unity of command. Means that means when we are talking about any organization, we prefer unity of command. That means only one person will be there. Here we have more than one superior. So this particular principle we are not following over here. Now this is a little bit means for when we have some kind of complex function to do. So we are means preferring matrix structure. So some functional specialists we are acquiring, and from different departments, and they are working together, and ultimately we are doing the job. So when unity of command is will not be maintained, so the this means the benefit that we were getting due to when we are following such kind of principle, so that we will not be able to get some kind of conflict can arise, some kind of ambiguity can appear in the mind of the people, employees who are working on that project. So this kind of problem can arise. Now, as because different people are coming from different field, and so our optimum utilization of employee skill can be achieved. Like whatever the knowledge, skill, experience people are having, so as on the basis of different requirement, we are taking just best people from different field. So that means obviously we are utilizing the best human resources. Now, matrix structure enables organization to make optimum utilization of employee skills, ensure that knowledge is available to employees in all departments and projects, facilitate quick response to change in customer demand and project requirement, and help organization reduce cost and improve performance. The success of that structure depends on how effectively managers overcome the deficiencies of the structure and leverage its positive aspects. So there are some positive things and some negative things, as because we are not following this chain, this unity of command. So there will be some problem, and at the same time, as because we are able to utilize the employee skill, their knowledge, and we are working together, and that means any change that we want to bring in the project, or that is demanded by the customer, that the kinds of change are required. So for doing any project, such kind of project, so what we can do, we can facilitate some quick response, because we have some efficient people, and there means the communication is very good, because they are coming together to work, do the work. So ultimately, if that is there, so ultimately we will be able to avoid some duplication of work. We will be able to reduce cost, and it will improve the performance, the time that is needed to do the project. So means we will be able to complete the project at the right time. So these things are there. So some benefits and some disadvantages are there. So as a means manager, what will be our duty? Our duty will be to enhance the positive things about it, about the structure, to best means utilize it in a better manner, in the best way, and to just overcome whatever the problems will arise related to this particular structure, that we have to avoid, and we have to or we have to overcome the deficiencies or disadvantages that is associated with the this kind of structure, and we have to think about the positive things, and we have to concentrate on that. So that's all about the organizing